What's up, good people? It's your boys, the Beards of War, back again. Got myself, the Chocolate Avenger, Thick Nick Fury. We got Hey Hey Captain Jack, the Conductor of Chaos. Today, Fat Broker Rambo and Scorched Earth can't be with us, but they will be back soon, so you guys stay tuned. All right, so spoilers ahead. This time, we're going to talk about Spider-Man Brand New Day. We have been waiting for this for a while, so Rambo and I went to AMC theaters in Annapolis, and we saw it. Loved it. I know Captain Jack saw it on opening day. This is one of those movies that kind of culminates, right? So we've got quite a few Avengers and Spider-Man stories, and I think Tom Holland is really, he's kind of gonna go the way of Daniel Radcliffe, man. You're Spider-Man, bro. Like, I don't know if casting is a big issue for him. A lot of people don't like to be typecast, but I think right now Tom Holland owns Spider-Man the same way Daniel Radcliffe owns Harry Potter, Elijah Wood owns Frodo. But fantastic job. So I think in this particular movie, we kind of delve into the PTSD aspect, right? So here's Beards of War being, combat veterans. We take PTSD seriously, and we kind of pick up on it. Like, we pick up on those things in the movies that we watch. And this kind of picks up, where it left off with the last Spider-Man film, where everyone forgets about him. And now you kind of see the other side of that. And the fact that MJ and Ned have gone through MIT and everything, like they've gone to school. So it's been years. And Peter Parker kind of isolated himself, so it's really just him because he doesn't want, the people that he loves to get hurt. But of course, after a while, that's going to start to wear on you, right? You need that connection. You need that social interaction. And these are people that he genuinely cared for. So to kind of, just kind of brush them off like they don't exist when they're right there is especially hard. It's not like he's in a different area and they're so far away. They're like right in the same neighborhood and they don't know him. So in this particular film, we have Sadie Sink, who is introduced as Jean Grey. I will say that the film doesn't have a true antagonist, right? Like, there's no like, oh, it's Spider-Man versus this villain, right? It's basically two separate like protagonists on a mission, right? So in the film, Jean Grey, who is Sadie Sink, as one of the worst kept secrets, I guess, she's trying to get information, right? She's trying to find out what happened to her sister. So she's using mind control, and you can see the way they depicted her jumping from individual to individual is so well done. It's almost like a choreographed dance, right? Like, it goes from one body to the next, and she can jump into anybody and take over that person's body. There's one particular young man. This gentleman, I don't know, he must have been waiting for this moment, but I've heard this talked about online. This is an African-American gentleman that Jean Grey embodies, and man, I'm telling you, he acted, okay? That dude he needs a full credit IMDb because he was phenomenal. Like, he really did a great job of this, man. We got, of course, you have Spider-Man trying to figure out like what's going on, and Jean Grey, as we understand, can't really get into Peter's mind, right? So that's one of those things about Spider-Man that's like, okay, well, what else can he do? What other powers does he have? Because we also know he's resistant to Doctor Strange's magic. So Spider-Man's a big deal, man. A lot of times, people forget just how badass Spider-Man is because he's technically a kid and he's a lot of fun to watch, right? So, but very powerful superhero. Of course, we have John Bernthal, the Punisher. That was one of the things I was concerned about. Are they going to water down, Frank Castle? And they didn't. Like, he's dropping F-bombs, and I'm like, all right, cool. All right, that's all I want. That's all I cared about. Frank Castle's still about that business, but they still meshed it together where the story made sense. You didn't lose the characters. You get to see the back and forth between Frank Castle and Spider-Man. And I'm telling you, and someone alluded to this, like, Spider-Man got, Frank Castle to do what Daredevil couldn't do in like 3 seasons, and that's to get him to smile, right? So Frank Castle has a true love for Spider-Man, as I think most of us do. But again, as the show goes on, Spider-Man trying to figure out where this is coming from. He finds out that it's Jean Grey. She's trying to find out where her sister is. And in that respect, while all this is going on, Spider-Man's trying to reconnect with his friends. So he tried to reconnect with MJ. There's a scene there where Jean Grey gets into MJ and Peter Parker feels like, oh, it's really her. And I'm getting this relationship back. Like, she remembers me. Like, I'm kind of getting her back. And when you found out it wasn't her, I'm like, oh man, that ripped the Band-Aid off. I mean, we're all sitting there like, man, that's the worst kind of curve, bro. When you think you got a chance to get the old flame back, and it's just like, nah, I'm just kidding. So that was diabolical. Okay, we do get the incident with Bruce Banner. So Hulk is back. The scene with Hulk and the Punisher and Spider-Man, the fight scene, probably one of the best that they've done in a long time. It's funny where Frank Castle's like, man, yeah, you handle this. Like, I'll go deal with the other thing. You handle it. This is like way over my pay grade, right? And it's fun to watch, right? So you have that aspect. I also think it's funny where everyone seems to have like this super like inquisitive mind where they can, oh, well, all you have to do is circulate this and this neophysics and thermal. I'm like, really? Everyone's a Tony Stark in this universe? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, everybody just had that, oh, I'm about that life. I know all about that high-tech stuff. Like, you know, what else do you need, right? So one of the plot holes, but they kind of figured out, and Spider-Man's kind of going through a transition where he's kind of like going more feral, I guess you could say. I don't know, but he's kind of like going more into a spider-like creature. So you have to create this thing to kind of keep him on the level. So we got to see how that's going to turn out. I don't know how it's going to turn out, but at the end of it, we basically get, you know, Spider-Man figured it out. Jean Grey, he kind of works out where they're on the same page, but there's also a theory because Spider-Man was, I would say, mortally wounded. Like he lost a lot of blood in that last transaction before he goes to the hospital. So what they're trying to say is what I've heard is Jean Grey is actually keeping him alive. So that aspect of it will kind of play into, okay, well, where are we going next? Because we already know it's going to be another Spider-Man movie, or at least an Avengers Doomsday. So all that's going to tie in. They kind of allude to that at the end of the film when you see like a picture of like Spider-Man being traced to outer space. So I don't know what that means. It could mean Fantastic Four. It could mean Guardians of the Galaxy. It could mean anything, right? Dr. Doom, we don't know. But I think it's going to be exciting. I think this movie was well done. I think it was well acted. It does carry the storyline forward. I do honestly think like Tom Holland is Spider-Man. Like Tobey Maguire, special place in our hearts. You know, he's always the first. The first one always has a special place. But when you have another individual that steps in to that kind of that persona and takes it on, I think Tom Holland has done a fantastic job. I know, like I said, Captain Jack, I know you got to see it opening day, so it's been a few days since that happened. But hey, man, if you want to weigh in on anything that kind of jumps out at you, let the people know what you think, man.
Yeah, for sure. No, I saw it a week ago, almost exactly like 7 days ago right now. So I went the moment I could. As soon as I got off work, I went down and watched it and totally loved it. Took my wife and we had a blast watching it. It was one of those things where it's a movie that makes you feel happy to go back to the movies. And I think with the summer season, you know, growing up every summer, there would be great blockbusters, summer blockbusters, right? And it really felt like this year really just didn't do that. But Spider-Man swung in on a line and saved the summer.
Yeah,
you know? Yeah, for sure. So I think, you know, it was great. Like it was really cool. We got to see Peter Parker growing up, right? He's maturing. It's been about 4 years since he was in high school, right? One of my favorite lines is where he stretches before he fights the guys. That was inspired by on-set activities because when he was doing his own stunts for this film, they made him go through a 10-minute stretching phase. And so like every time before he would go to do the thing, he had to stretch for 10 minutes before he could do it. And so that was brought into the storyline to be like, you know, hey, this is a maturing Spider-Man. He is not a 16-year-old kid, right? Like he's 22, 23 years old. And which I was going to say, like at 23 years old, if you really have to limber up, like, I don't know about that. I don't know.
But definitely now. Like
that's the first rule of Zombieland.
Just getting out of bed, you got to limber up for me. I mean, you know, once you start getting the grays, guy, you definitely want to start stretching. So take that lesson from Spider-Man. You definitely want to stretch and you want to continue to do that. It never gets old. It's not lame. Stretch. Okay. I'm telling you, you'll thank your body will thank you for years to come if you stretch. But I think also the scene with Black Widow, I enjoyed that. So like, she's like, come in my office, which is like a sauna. And she's like, oh, that's small potatoes, right? We're dealing with big potatoes, right? And so, and that I think is alluding to again what's coming down the pike with the Dr. Doom. So it's it's funny to see how that kind of relationship transpired too, because they call back later. She's like, "Oh, these are bigger potatoes." Like, I think we're dealing with bigger potatoes now. Like, yeah, because now you're bringing Jean Grey, which means you're bringing X-Men, and I mean, it's just. I think the build-up is just kind of what we've been waiting for, and this Spider-Man movie was a great transition. It's funny because we just saw these actors in the Odyssey. Like, if you've seen the Odyssey, you've basically seen the entire cast of Spider-Man in the Odyssey, which was fun. But I think, like I said, John Bernthal as Punisher, he owns the role. Again, our heart goes out to Thomas Jane. Thomas Jane was our original Punisher, but John Bernthal is taking it to that next level. The scene at the hospital when it's like where Peter Parker's like, I don't know how I'm going to get out of here, and Punisher's like, I got it taken care of, right? So he just shows up in the hospital room with the mask on, like cheering, everybody's going nuts, and it's just that interaction between him and Peter show that they're like two friends, right? They had their their beef or whatever happened in Staten Island, but they're still there for each other. Punisher's still that guy that's gonna, take care of him when he needs it, and he wants to make sure he's good. Like, he brought him to the hospital when he was wounded, and it was just one of those scenes that makes you love Spider-Man and makes you love John Bernthal as Punisher.
Yeah, no, Punisher was great in this film. I loved the story arc that we got to see. If you remember when we reviewed Daredevil, we kept talking about how, or not Daredevil, but the Punisher preview or whatever that Punisher show that was just one episode, Final Kill, yeah. Whatever it was. That was really setting him up to be in a really dark space. And I think it's so interesting how they transitioned him into this much better space. He was in a much healthier headspace, it felt like to me in the film. Really cool. So that's nice to see, right? You tie it in, you get people who are watching all the different franchises, you get that payoff of, hey, he was super depressed in Last Kill or whatever that was. And it was super fun. So yeah, I loved it. Everybody else loved it too, apparently, because they made 72 million just in previews, which is the highest recorded history of it. Avengers Endgame only made 60 million in the previews. Opening day, 168 million domestically. So in the United States on that Friday. Totally crazy. Yeah. Opening weekend, 360 million. Highest domestic opening of all time of anything. So yeah. 572 million across 66 markets. So like, right, bro, everybody was watching it. Everybody watched this week. Everybody liked it. It was good. But yeah, there's some really fun breakdowns. There's been some fun details. Like, for one, what did you feel of, like, I really felt like there was a tie with Thunderbolts. I felt like there was a lot of the same themes of Thunderbolts, of that isolation. You even talked about PTSD. I feel like we're getting a lot of that from Marvel right now. We're getting a lot of that discussion and that topic. People finding belonging through a team, right? Like, Peter was really self-isolating and having all these problems. And then, we had a triggering event and suddenly Frank's there. Right. And so they start to build it out. And then, MJ is like, aren't you going to go after him? Like he did in Staten Island? Like, that was hilarious. The whole standing joke about Staten Island, man. Like, they kicked that dead horse a lot of times.
I want to know what happened in Staten Island.
Because they were very much... We all want to know what happened in Staten Island. I'm sure that it's going to be in a film soon, or a streaming series. We will find out.
They got to allude to that because there's a meeting there, right? And Marvel has been very good about that. Like, they do purposeful Easter eggs, right? If they drop something, it's going to come back. They dropped it for a reason. There are no like Easter eggs that don't go anywhere. They always come back, even if it's a small little
right. They always
like the shawarma thing from Avengers. Like, that was classic, right? Oh, I think I'm gonna try some shawarma, and after the credit scene, they're eating shawarma. So, like, they've been very purposeful with that. So I appreciate that. It always gives you something to look forward to. Even when you go back to during the Avengers, I think it was the Avengers with Age of Ultron, with Captain America budging Mjolnir. That ended up being probably the biggest scene after Avengers Endgame. It's like, oh man, like, you just knew. And that little moment, like, if you had looked away, you would have missed it. But that little moment turned into the biggest moment in the Avengers like cinema. So it's that's what makes it so fun to watch.
And they're about to pay that off right now, as we're seeing in the Doctor Doom stuff, right? Because we just saw that the other day. Steve Rogers is coming back.
Or is it Steve Rogers? It's like there's so many,
But the test is the Mjolnir, and he catches Mjolnir.
Right.
So it's Steve Rogers.
What do you think?
Of some sort. At least it's a worthy Steve Rogers. There's a multiverse.
Like Hela caught Mjolnir, so I don't know. Thanos
destroyed Mjolnir. I don't know if she...
Well, she literally caught it and crushed it. Like, I would say that qualifies.
I don't think she could wield it. I just think she could destroy it. But what about Thanos? Is that comic book lore, or am I forgetting a moment from the MCU?
Say again?
Did Thanos...
Well, so Thanos never...
Did he wield
Mjolnir.
it, or did he stop it with Mind
Stones?
So,
but the idea or the concept is Thanos is, even though his methods may have been like people don't agree with, his heart was pure. Like what he wanted to do was genuinely pure. So technically he would be able to wield Mjolnir if you're basing it off of that. But of course, that's a theory, right? So you have to kind of say, I may not agree with your methods, but I get your ideology, right? So what's worthy? I guess that's kind of one of those things. Like I think Spider-Man would be worthy. I think if Spider-Man were to, wield Mjolnir, I think he would. And I think in the comics, of course, if you guys out there have seen a comic and Spider-Man's ever wielded Mjolnir, I definitely see that as a possibility. I mean, you can't get more pure than a teenager that fights crime on the weekend and, oh, look at this. Yeah, there we go. There we go. Now I'm being outdone.
This one's in jail. She's eating the floor, literally.
But yeah, man, I mean, I think...
She's eating the floor, literally.
Yeah, Spider-Man has just been a solid character. And like I was saying, he's one of those untouchable superheroes, right? So they held true to the character. They didn't go too dark with him. You were able to bring in the Punisher and the Hulk without, making it to where the kids can't enjoy it. So this is like, Spider-Man's just that... He's just that guy, man. Like Tom Holland has embodied Spider-Man and what it means to a lot of children and adults, right? Spider-Man's that universal superhero that spans all generations. And I think that's why it does so well, because your kids may not get Batman. The adults kind of like, all right, well, I get it. But for your children, Spider-Man is that guy. For your adults, Spider-Man is still that guy, So they stay true to the character. I think they honor Stan Lee, with that. And I think Tom Holland's doing a fantastic job. Zendaya, again, another solid job, having that, back and forth with him and kind of just breaking his heart all over again. Like even after she poured his heart out and she read the letter, she's like, but I just don't love you. And that was like, dude, again, we're going to rip that Band-Aid and just put it back on and rip it off again. I'm like, dude, I don't know how Peter Parker, like, we talk about PTSD, Peter Parker probably leading the pack. All right, he's over like Frank Castle. He's over like everybody, and this is a kid that we're talking about that had to bear this weight. So I do think like these characters are kind of pulling each other out of their PTSD. Like Frank Castle was deep in it, and then you meet a Peter Parker, and they got each other to smile. You know what I'm saying? So that's kind of what that veteran brotherhood that we talk about all the time. Like we all deal with it on a certain level. But when we get together, there's a way that we just pull each other out of that funk. And I think we're seeing that on screen. I think that's very important to know that you're never in this alone. No matter what you're going through, you have people who have your back. And I think the Avengers and Spider-Man movies and all that is kind of showing that in real time, where even though they're entertaining us, it is telling a deeper story.
Yeah. Well, they're doing a really good job telling the deeper story. I mean, we know that Daniel Cretton was really trying to get a personal, intimate story out of this movie, and he wanted to show Peter and show him in the isolation, right? The aftermath of the spell of Doctor Strange's spell, everybody forgetting him, and he was sitting there, and I liked the relationship that he had with the detective,
right?
Where she was like telling him, man, you can't be married to the job. Eventually, something's gonna break, and then foreshadowing, something broke.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where we went. So yeah, really interesting though. Like the storyline was good. I thought it was really interesting. I've enjoyed how they used practical effects. So they did not want to be on volumes. That was a specific call out that Dustin Daniel Cretton was like, we're going back to practical. And so he made that call with Tom Holland. And one of the things that they did, and I've got some graphics that we'll put up on the screen here, is they ended up turning Glasgow into New York. And so they had Glasgow totally dressed up and set dressed as New York for about a month. And so they used practical locations to shoot these things. And it was so cool because they had the space, they had kind of the right architecture, right? The time, right? New York has a very specific type of architecture. They were able to set dress Glasgow to look just like that, which, you know, for me, after coming off of the World Cup and all of the no Scotland, no party and all of that stuff, like I was super excited to hear that they had really done that. It's so cool. Volumes are really convenient and they're really practical. And when, you know, they got introduced in The Mandalorian, we were all like, oh, this is so cool. It really gives you all that background and all that space, but it also makes it a little bit more two-dimensional. And so I really feel like the practical aspect of filming, you know, in situ, right? Like out there on the streets really changes the way that it works. And they had so much engagement. I thought one of the coolest quotes that I saw from Destin Daniel Cretton was, you know, hey, Scotland knows how to party. And you can tell they had a lot of fun filming. They had a lot of fun filming Spider-Man in Scotland. So super cool to see that they did that.
Yeah, that's great. I had no idea about
I'll
that.
just pop up another. Yeah, man. So they turned it in, and it's like, you know, that's one of the things they had Spider-Man, you know, out there doing it. And so he was on location swinging around doing stuff. And they, you know, they talk about how they did the bus sequence, took them a month to film, right? Like it was like a lot of time. They spent a lot of time doing these real stunts, trying to inspire people.
Pays off, man. Those real stunts
You know,
pay off
the group.
every time. Every time. Like all the movies that we see now, the CGI,
Absolutely.
it's like the quick way. Like, I mean, and I get CGI is kind of like the future, but when you go back to those old fashioned like stuntmen, like even go back to like the karate films, like those fight scenes are so much more fun to watch when you know those guys are really in the sauce, right? And it's not a CGI camera move. Like these guys have choreographed this whole thing, and when you see it play out, it just has so much more weight to it.
And I love that you say that because it ties into kind of the next topic, which is the fact that, you know, this was Jackie Chan's team that came in and did the choreography for the stunts. And so they, you know, there's sightings of Jackie Chan in the UK when he went over to help with it, and like just a super cool experience to do that. I loved the ninja fight scenes and everything that they did. Like that was such a cool moment to have him fight the hand. Like they did a really great job.
Yeah, I think it's solid. Like I said, man. And then like you were talking about the police chief, and I thought it was funny because she was like getting coffee. I'm like, yeah, you're gonna go handle that. I'm like, are you guys paying him? Like, you know, like it was kind of like at first, hey, look, Spider-Man,
Just another
no
employee.
vigilanteism around here. Now it's like, hey, you're gonna take care of that, right? Like, oh, did you get that? Yeah, I got it. Meanwhile, she's getting to Starbucks, and kids are doing our homework, and he's out there just fighting crime, you know, not getting paid, fighting Tombstone on a ledge. And they kind of shot Tombstone really quick. I really hope that that's a prerequisite to more, because I think that casting was great. Condono as Tombstone was a perfect casting. I want to see more of that. So I think, you know, like kind of shedding these little Easter eggs here and there, I think it's going to pay off big time at some point. I also, if you guys have not seen Spider Noir with Nicolas Cage, do yourself a favor and watch it, man. It has been so fun to watch Nicolas Cage, man. I've always been a Nicolas Cage fan. Dude's been around and forever in everything, and he just deserves this. He really does. I would love to see it transition somehow into a big screen moment, you know, just a cameo, man. Like sometimes that does it all. You know, we already know that we're probably going to bring Daredevil in at some point, because that small screen show is probably the best for MCU on the small screen, so they can't miss an opportunity to put it on the big screen. They've already done it with Punisher, and doing it. They've done it in the small part with Daredevil. We already have seen his character introduced, but it's time to really bring Daredevil out. And now that he's been in prison and Kingpin and that whole situation, yeah, I see a couple of Spider-Man films in the future, and honestly, Tom Holland is going to be the guy. Like I don't even know if the dude can grow facial hair at this point. I don't know. I have no idea. But every time I see him, whatever I see him in, he's gonna be Peter Parker. And I know that used to be a kiss of death, but right now I'd ride that thing till the wheels fall off. I don't care if you don't cast me as nothing else. Just as long as you're paying me, Hugh Jackman, he's Wolverine. Wesley Snipes is Blade. So sometimes you gotta embrace the fact that people see that as you, like you're that person, and in a lot of people's eyes, that's a positive because you're playing a very positive character that people kind of gather around. So it's not like you're playing someone that people don't like. You're playing someone that people genuinely love. So I think in that respect, it will bode well for him in the future. I'm pretty sure he's doing pretty well. I mean, you already got like one of the hottest actresses in the game. You're making money making these movies, dude. Just enjoy it for what it is. You always have time to do creative stuff later on in your career, but for right now, I think Tom Holland is that guy, and he is Spider-Man.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Yeah, he's really dedicated to it. Like, there were reports that he got a mild concussion while performing a stunt at the UK studio in September 2025. They had to pause production while he recovered from it and made sure that he was okay. I mean, like, Tom Holland's in there, man. I saw an interview with John Bernthal, and John was like, hey, I don't want to claim credit, but like, I filmed Tom Holland's his casting video, right? Like, you do the self-tape. So he's like, yeah, I was the one holding the phone to record. Wow. And he was like, hey, what do you think I should do? He's like, do you think I should come in and do like a backflip? And he's like, yeah, dude, nobody else is going to do that. You need to do a backflip and come in. And like, yeah, it's so funny. So like they have a really good friendship there. You can tell. You've seen them in a bunch of films together. And I think that's only going to continue. Yeah. But they're having a blast. You can tell that they're having a blast doing all of this together. Everybody is saying really positive things about Tom Holland and Zendaya, and, working together with them, people are just saying lots of positive things. So I don't know. With the money that they're putting into this, I'm glad to see that we're getting really good product, right? So like they shipped something like 50 actual real New York taxi cabs to Glasgow to film that whole scene and just to put them out there. They had real New York police uniforms. Like, it was this whole thing. They were doing everything that they could. They put their budget behind this film. And like, I think you can really feel the realism of the practical sets, and you can feel that like everybody involved in this film wants to be there, wants to do it. Like, there's no, this was a paycheck. There's no, this bought my mom's house. Mm-hmm. Like, everybody's excited to be there. Everybody wants to be in on this.
Yeah, no negative press.
Like, you hear all the stories about that.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
That's very true. Okay. Well, all right, man. I guess that about covers everything. So, I mean, if you guys want to ask us if you should see Spider-Man Brand New Day, it's a definite yes from your boy, Thick Nick. Cap Jack, I'll let you speak for yourself, bro, but I would definitely tell take your family, like, go see Spider-Man Brand New Day.
Definitely. Go take your family. I think it landed at PG-13, but it's not like super offensive. There's lots of action. Mm-hmm. That was one of the things my wife commented on, was that there's a flurry of action. There's a lot of it, and it's a little bit overwhelming. And I think the overwhelmingness is intentional, right? It's kind of similar to combat, like how there's just
what's coming at you.
So many things going on, and all you can do is focus on what's coming at you. Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, really interesting. I just want to say, like, for me, I just watched Ted Lasso last night, and that was an interesting, season 4, episode 1. I don't know if you've watched it at all, Nick, but, Ted Lasso is super fun. I've just come off watching the World Cup. This is like my 4th or 5th World Cup that I've been watching as an American, right? Like, we didn't watch it growing up necessarily, but coming up as an adult, I started getting into the World Cup, and I really loved it. And so getting into Ted Lasso has been super fun. But they came out with a new episode last night, and it was great. I'm loving it. We're excited. It's one of those things, though, where it feels like it has this transitional feeling to it, and there's some awkwardness to it. And so, just keep that in mind if you want to watch. And I won't put out spoilers, but if you want to hear more about Ted Lasso, let us know, guys, in the comment, because I don't know. I don't think we reviewed it at all.
No.
But it's one of those like really good feel good shows. that they're doing great stuff
Yeah,
with.
you guys have definitely suggested it. I know for myself, like once a series is like, I don't know, two seasons in, I find it very hard to have the bandwidth to just get caught up. Like, I don't have the personality much for binge watching. Like, I just for some reason I can't. I'd rather turn my mind off and watch something for 2 hours. I even watched Mortal Kombat 2 when I knew it was bad because I don't want to get into a series, and I regretted it. And I'm sorry, Keith Urban could not save that film. That film was bad. Okay, but I have heard very positive things. The only thing that I think I've binge watched and me and my lady watch is Love on the Spectrum. And I know I've spoken about that a few times. If you guys want a feel good show, if you have not seen Love on the Spectrum for Netflix, like you're doing yourself a disservice. But it's definitely a feel good. It's definitely something you want to follow. You want to follow these kids into their lives. But like you said, Ted Lasso is another good one that we spoke highly about here on the show. I do want to get an opportunity to see it because, like I said, I love good feel good shows and funny, and I think that's definitely one of those that would kind of fit that mold. But I gotta be in the headspace for it. Otherwise, I'll be like, oh, I saw like 2 episodes, and then I started watching something else, and it's hard for me to get back. Sometimes my head is all over the place. But I'm not watching Mortal Kombat 2 again. I can tell you that much.
Absolutely. Well, yeah, check out Ted Lasso. Really good. Jason Sudeikis and Hannah Waddingham and Juno Temple and Brandon, I don't remember his name, Brandon Hunt. Really good cast. Absolutely loved what they did with the first 3 seasons. Really excited and hopeful for season 4. It was one of those shows that was like the unexpected positive moments during COVID. And then kind of reminds me even of like the energy of if you ever watch Some Good News with John Krasinski during COVID, just like one of these shows that's just genuinely positive and putting out good messaging for the world and for humanity. And so like I can't recommend it enough, but season 4 is brand new and it's out and it's streaming on Apple and they are doing 1 episode at a time. So if you want us to cover it, guys, just let us know in the comments and then we will figure out if we've got people who can cover it. So, yeah.
All right. All right, guys. Hey, listen, don't forget to check us out on our website, beardsaward.com. We also have a link to This Is Not a Draft, a documentary that we are very proud of. So if you guys get a moment, just check it out and let us know what you think, man. Like and subscribe, man. Hit the notification bell. Let us know that you guys are down with the Beards of War, man. There's some disabled veterans do what we love to do, and we've been fortunate. So if anything ever happens to me, though, do not let them call me an influencer. I am not that. I am a combat veteran, right? Like, just don't let them call me an influencer, man. Don't do it, all right? With that said, man, hey, man, Thick Nick Fury out here. Till next time, guys.
All right, and that's Captain Jack signing off. Thanks, guys. Thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next one. Take care.